So I watched Happy Gilmore 2. Now, I was really excited for this movie, but also I my concerns with the fact that Adam Sandler hasn't been funny in a long time. Legacy sequels don't always turn out to be good, and it's a Netflix movie. So I had my concerns going into it. I thought this movie was terrible. Like, the only little positives I have about this movie is that the moments where Adam Sandler has to show dramatic acting, he's a great actor. That's one is I will always say about Adam Sandler is that you watch a movie like Uncut Gems and a movie where he played like a coach that was helping out a basketball player. I can't remember the name of the movie, but those are the episodes where he can be really a great dramatic actor when he has to be. And then the actor who plays Shooter McGavin, I can tell that he was having fun. I don't think they give his character a whole lot to do in this movie, and I'm not a fan of like the choice of where they take the character story wise, but I think he's still great as Shooter McGavin. Like it feels like he went right back into that role with no problem. So I think he's great in the movie when it comes to just feeling like he felt like he like went back in that role. And you feel like that's Shooter McGavin from the Wisdom. And that's really about it when it comes to the positives. This movie's shit in my opinion. Like I thought this was one of the worst Legacy sequels. The comedy did not work for me. I hate the setup of the movie where he kills where you see Happy Gilmore like kills his wife by accident when he's golfing and golf ball hits her and that's why he stops golfing. I was like, I hate the setup. I was like, really? You bend her back and she gets killed off in such a goofy, silly way at the beginning. So I'm not a fan of the setup. The tone, like they have this thing they have like after that where he's just depressed and he's drinking alcohol all the time and him going to like meetings for people with alcohol problems, and I feel like that tone of how ridiculous and goofy this movie is just doesn't fit. It's not executed well, and they have a whole gag like throughout the movie where he's like hiding alcohol in different items. I was like, this is just to me that gag weared off pretty quickly. Where it just was like, this isn't really funny to me personally. It just feels like the way it's executed for me personally just wasn't funny, and they kept going back to that gag throughout the whole movie. So I just wasn't a fan of that. The joke to me wasn't really funny, and it just felt like they would just kept going back to it. And also, this movie is one of the worst examples when it comes to callbacks. There were so many times in this movie where they have lines and scenes that are like feel just like you have lines that feel like they're taken from the original and scenes that feel like they're similar to the scenes from the original. And like they'll do a joke that's a callback to the original, and then they'll show a scene from the original movie like people don't remember the original Happy Go movie, and they do it a couple of times in this movie, and I'm just like, you don't need to show me a scene from the original movie this much, and it just feels lazy. This movie to me, it feels like it was just like they don't have any new jokes, so let's just call back and do it and call back to a joke from the original and then show the scene from the original. So it just felt lazily done. This movie to me, it felt like they had like the jokes weren't funny and they were all callback jokes pretty much. You even have characters that are related to characters from the original. Like you have the son of the guy of the character from the original who was calling Happy a jackass. I was just like, okay, you're really stressing there. And then Carl Weathers' character from the original, who was teaching Happy Gilmore how to putt. Like you have an actor in this movie who plays character's son, and he has a wooden hand. And I was just like, why does he have a wooden hand too? I was like, stupid callbacks like that. And you have like I think you have a character that comes back who was happy he's a caddy for like a couple seconds in the original that he beat up, and I was like, really, you're bringing that character back? You see, you have like characters like I said related to original characters that felt pointless to me personally. Also, this movie is full of cameos in the worst way. Where I understand Adam Sandler likes to do movies with his friends, but it was like Adam Sandler just had to put everybody in this movie, and it's so distracting in this movie. Where I'm just like, these cameos feel pointless. It feels like he just threw people in there because they were his friends, but he didn't have anything for them to do, so they're just in there, and they're just so distracting. This movie's also too long, I think, personally. Like the plot of this movie does not need to be this long. Like this is one of the reasons where it felt like it was too long, in my opinion. You could have used the time to like. I feel like you could have cut out the cameos and used those moments to actually like develop the plot more and have better jokes and not just callback jokes and showing scenes from the original. So this movie just felt lazily done to me personally. It's the most like to me it might be the most lazy legacy sequel I've seen personally. So the jokes didn't work for me. Too many callbacks, too many cameos. I'm not a fan also of the same with legacy sequels where it's like, oh, the character's depressed now. You have a character called Happy Gilmore. The character's name, Happy, and you turn him into a depressed alcohol in this movie. I wasn't a fan of that choice, and it's not executed well in this movie, like I said. Happy has like I think like 5 sons and 1 daughter or something in this movie. His 5 sons feel like they have no personality whatsoever. They're basically younger versions of Happy Gilmore, and you can really they don't add anything to this movie. The characters are all the same character. So they to me they didn't do anything character like add anything to this movie with their characters. Like all Happy Gilmore's I think 4 or 5 like 5 or 4 sons. They all pretty much feel like the same character, younger version of Happy Gilmore. And like you also think like he joins like he does golfing again to help out to pay for his daughter. I think she wants to go to ballet or something like that. And I feel like they kind of just like forget about that for like a huge chunk of the movie. And like the idea of like you have these new golfers who face off against the old golfers. I think that could have been interesting, but it's so goofy and ridiculous. Like this movie goes so like more ridiculous and goofy than the first one that it wasn't executed well, and I feel like they don't develop it really all that well or enough. Schumer Gavin, like the way they, I also feel like with Schumer Gavin, like this, like you start with him like coming out of a mental place, like wanting to get like him being a little crazy and you think in the trailers like he's gonna like become like the bad guy, which is like predictable. But I would have preferred that because when I'm at like the scene where he sees Happy Gilmore at the graveyard scene, and all of a sudden after they fight, they're just all of a sudden buddies. I was like, this felt like I was like, really? He just becomes friends with Happy Gilmore that quickly after he hated this guy for ruining his life. He's just like, oh okay, we're buddies now. That just felt so like I don't say if you don't want to do the predictable thing of just making him the bad guy, but I think I would have preferred the predictable thing over what they were doing with a shooter in this, where it was just like all of a sudden him and Happy are just buddies, like real quick. So I felt like I wasn't a fan of the dressing they took shooter in this movie. It just felt very abrupt, like how he just all of a sudden him and Happy are chummy after they fight at the graveyard and are buddies like that. So I wasn't a fan of that either. They just don't really give him a whole lot to do in this movie, personally, for me. Which sucks because I feel like he does a great job of slipping right back into the role of Shooter McGavin, and they just don't give him a whole lot to do in this movie, in my opinion. And the dressing they go with the character where he's friends with Happy, all of a sudden, it just felt abrupt to me, and it didn't feel like it just felt like you took the character and the dressing that felt out of nowhere and didn't completely feel like it made sense or felt like it felt organically of like I just felt like that felt too abrupt, like the way he's just chummy with Happy Gilmore right away like that. So I wasn't a fan of the dressing they took Shooter. I thought he was wasted in this movie for me personally. I just felt like you could have gave him more to do and they just don't really give him a whole lot. No new age golfers versus old age golfers. That element of the story I feel like could have been flushed out more. And it just gets so goofy and ridiculous and over the top of that stuff that it got too goofy for me personally. So overall, I was not a fan of this movie. I think this is to me one of the worst Legacy sequels. It might even be the worst Legacy sequel I've seen, and personally for me, one of the Adam Sandler's worst movies. Like I love The Original Happy Gilmore. It's my favorite Adam Sandler comedy film, and I think this also kind of made me just fully realize after this that Adam Sandler just has lost it for me personally. He's just not funny anymore. Like I'm like more interested in seeing him do dramatic stuff, and I just think he's just not funny anymore, and it just feels like he's just relying on old jokes. So I was not a fan of Happy Gilmore too. I would not recommend this personally. I would just say go check out the original. Don't bother with the sequel. So that's my thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2. Until next time, movie fans.